So the wines we make here, we make for the table. So we make wines that are going to pair well with food and good conversation. So we are not going for a big powerful wine at all. We're not going for a wine that is too linear. We're going for wines that are well balanced between acid and tannins and fruit, that will age well on the red side, but are enjoyable immediately upon release as well. So the whites, we make 5 different Sauvignon Blancs, and those are in different styles. One is all Sauvignon Blanc and like really, it's called zingy because it is, and it goes with things like oysters and shellfish. On the other hand, we make one that is barrel fermented with Semillon, and that is very creamy and textural, and that's more for the autumn foods of like a roast goose or something like a lobster thermidor dish would be great. And then in the middle, we have ones that kind of transcend a bunch of those different kind of seasons and wines. We also make the first commercially available in this country anyway, a hopped Sauvignon Blanc. We grow hops here as well. So we add hops to Sauvignon Blanc, so you get this kind of very strange Sauvignon Blanc that smells like a beer and tastes like a wine. We make 2 rosés, which we release in February, and we try to keep them throughout the summer because rosé is just such a big category here now. We never make it all the way through the summer. They sell out so fast. And then on the reds, they are barrel fermented and aged, and probably anywhere from 20 months to sometimes we age those for 3 years. What we're trying to do is get those tannins all nicely integrated so that when we do bottle and release that wine, it goes well with food. But our style, because we grow everything here on the farm, other than wine, is to be wines that you can enjoy with food.
So we harvest everything by hand. So we have a lot of really great workers that come out and pick all by hand with scissors. We don't do anything mechanically. So we go through, pick the grapes, they go into a bucket so they don't all get crushed onto one thing. And they'll take the bucket and gently dump it into a picking bin. And so we try to make sure the grapes don't get crushed in the midst of picking. So we have irrigation running through the entire vineyard. Ideally, we don't have to, but because California has had a significant drought in the past years, we've had to irrigate a good amount. This year was very unique though, because we've had so much rain that we haven't had to irrigate as much. But again, summertime, September, we don't really get any rain. So the vines really need some water towards the end to help just push them through. So we have irrigation running throughout the entire vineyard, but we like the rains in the springtime, not so much in the summertime or during harvest.
When we process all the grapes at harvest, we vinify everything separately. So, for instance, on the Sauvignon Blanc, we have 6 different blocks of Sauvignon Blanc. When we process those, they all go into different tanks. And then, although we make them the same way initially during fermentation, they will taste different. And that depends on the block. It also depends on the year. And most importantly, when we decide to pick the grapes. And then what we do is we go through and we taste them all. I know it's a hard job, somebody has to do it. And we choose each year which ones we want to be for each expression of Sauvignon Blanc. So sometimes block 2 will be our zingy, and sometimes block 8 will go into our signature blend. So the one that is most well known around here is what we call our signature blend, and that one is kind of in the bell-shaped curve of like not too acidic and not too buttery. It's in the middle, and it has a tiny bit of Semillon in there too. So Semillon is a textural grape that we barrel ferment to give it even more creaminess and texture, and we add anywhere from 6 to 9% to the Sauvignon Blanc, which has been made only in these tanks, so it doesn't see any oak at all. And what that does is give you a really nice balanced Sauvignon Blanc, and it's not too crazy zingy-ish, and it's not too creamy, so it goes with a lot of foods over a lot of seasons. And that's our largest production of Sauvignon Blanc, and we make about 2,000 cases of that a year, which are enjoyed here at the property in the tasting room, as well as many restaurants in the region and across the country on the whites. So Sauvignon Blanc, that's how we do that. Cabernet Franc, which is our signature red, is made all in one lot. We make this kind of in a crazy way that Brett can talk about a little bit later. We put them in, we destem all the grapes and we put them into 4x4x4 fermenters, and then we very carefully over 3 weeks we'll vinify that, punching it down 2 or 3 times a day, gently kind of folding those grapes in so that we get all the deliciousness out of the skins. And then although we put this to barrel as one lot, each one will have its own personality, which is such the fascinating thing about making wine. Like, you know, we know this all started as the same batch of wine, and then each one evolves on its own. So what we'll do then for the Cabernet Franc, which usually stay in barrel for 20 months about, we'll taste each barrel and we'll make a selection, like this one will go to our Cabernet Franc, this one will go to our Trevin, which is our red Bordeaux flagship blend, and this will go to our table wine. So it is both the vineyard that's speaking to us, it's also the vintage speaking to us, because this year, for instance, will be really interesting to see what the grapes taste like, because for the first time in 8 years we had rain over the winter, and it's also our stylistic tasting that we're doing. So it's not one thing, it's a combination of different things. We want to make these that are food-friendly wines. We want them to be enjoyed when we release them, and we want them to continue to evolve on the reds with time in the bottle in people's cellars. So we have people that have saved these wines for years, especially our red Bordeaux blends, and we've tasted like a 1991 recently, and I know that for Europe that doesn't seem very old, but it is for here, and it was absolutely still delicious. So we're looking for deliciousness.